My favourite period for the novel is the 19th century. But every so often you come across a novel that beautifully blends both the 19th and the 20th centuries. And that's the case with one of my very favourite 20th century novels, Possession by A.S. Byatt. The book was published in 1990, became a bestseller, and it won for its author the Booker Prize. Now, Possession is an intriguing story because it's about two modern-day academics, a young man called Roland and a very cool, collected young woman called Maud. Now, both of them are working away on their favourite authors. For Roland, this is a writer called Randolph Henry Ashe, partly based on Browning, partly on Tennyson. And for Maud, it's a writer called Christabel Lamotte, who is very much based on Christina Rossetti. Because Roland begins off in the London Library at the start of the book, where he finds a very interesting letter tucked into the pages of a book that nobody has used for absolutely years, this sets him off on a wonderful detective expedition. And the two of them meet each other and they learn more about these famous writers that both of them are studying. But the book also takes us back into the 19th century. We meet Randolph Henry Ashe and Christabel Lamotte, and we discover that the two of them had a very passionate love affair. So the book moves us from 19th century back to the 20th century academics, back again to the 19th century writers. It takes us travelling all over the place. The book begins in the London Library, a really fabulous institution, but it takes us travelling. We go to an ancient manor house in Norfolk. We travel up to Whitby, where the famous Whitby jet shops become an important part of the plot of the novel. We travel in England during a terrible storm that took place, so that's all woven into a very exciting, dramatic end to the story. And we also travel to France. So it's a book that really moves around a lot. I think the novel is a real tour de force on the part of A.S. Byatt. She actually creates the poetry for these two 19th century writers so that we are convinced that these are two great poets. I know people who've read the novel thinking, how come I've never heard of these famous poets? They've gone off researching them in the library and, of course, discovered that they are purely fictional characters. The theme of this wonderful, rich novel is possession. The possession of a subject by somebody who is writing a biography. Physical possession within a love affair. The possessing of different objects that once belonged to a famous person. And the whole theme of independence and ownership between lovers. We learn a lot about Randolph Henry Ashe's marriage, not a happy one, and one which has not included physical possession. We look at the way in which we feel when we fall in love with the works of an author, that they come to sort of belong to us, that we have rights over them. So Byatt looks at all of these different themes in really intriguing ways throughout the novel. A film was made of Possession in the year 2002. I was very excited to see it because I so loved the novel. However, I was extremely disappointed in the movie. They made many changes from the book, and it really totally, I think, failed to capture the greatness of this novel. It had Gwyneth Paltrow, it had Jeremy Northam, Jennifer Earley. So it was a good cast, but I think the script was very poor indeed, and it really was a disappointment. When Possession came out, it was given an absolutely glorious and I think very attractive cover. I know so many people who bought the book and started it and never finished it. I think it does take just a little bit of patience to get into the story and to get to know the different characters. But once you get into it, you are absolutely hooked by this truly wonderful book. It's also a very versatile novel. As well as including the poems of the two fictional poets in the novel, it includes diary entries and letters and manuscripts and things hidden away in manor houses. So it really uses a great variety of literary techniques within the novel. If you have once started Possession and not finished it, do consider picking it up again and reading it. If you've never read it, I can promise you have a real treat in store for you. I think Possession is one of the greatest novels of the 20th century. And Time magazine placed it as one of the 100 best English language novels published between 1923 and 2005. Possession by A.S. Byatt is a really fabulous read.